Welcome to the GoOutLiving Attitude, a cancer survivor's journey through health and wellness, helping others search for the tools to bring us a healthier and happier lifestyle. Hi everyone, Jonathan Brandt, GoOutLiving. Today's special guest is Brian Gryn. He is a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner, a wellness coach, podcast host, author of Stepladder Systems, and human movement specialist. Welcome, Brian.
John, you got a great podcast voice, I have to say. Has anyone else said that about you or no?
I actually have heard that before, but yeah, I didn't even know I was going to be doing something like this back in January is when I started. But no, I appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I'm excited to talk health and wellness. That's sort of been my life's journey for 20 years now. So
it goes by quick, doesn't it?
It does. I mean, I'm 45. I don't even know. I remember when I was like one of, I don't even call him a mentor, that I used to like help me with like physical fitness and stuff. And I remember he was in his 40s, and I'm thinking, oh, I long time till that. Now I'm in my 40s.
So what got you started?
I think what really got me started was I was lucky. I was exposed to fitness and health early on from my parents. And so in high school, like I started lifting, and I think it's more popular now in high school, but like back then, guys lifted, but it wasn't as popular. And I don't know, I just enjoyed getting strong and the fitness part of things. I tried corporate America. It wasn't for me. And I was like, I just want to get into physical fitness and training. And then, sort of the nutrition side came a little bit later. So yeah, I think it was just something that really affected my life in a positive manner. And I figure, why not just help others with it?
Well, it's a great thing to be into right now. I mean, I keep going back to, it's been 50 years for me. I mean, I'm 51, and how we started eating horribly all the way back then with TV dinners, with microwave and stuff, and in fast food. It just blew up. And we're now seeing the results of that, aren't we?
Gosh, yeah. I mean, I think so much has changed. I mean, the whole rhetoric around, food and nutrition, and working out has changed. But yeah, like, I think we know so much now, much more than we did then. Almost too much, right? I think sometimes too much information, you end up not doing nothing with it, right? So I am in the camp of trying to keep things simple and just focus on the basics, and once it's like any other, when you play a sport, I'm a big golfer. You want to stick to the basics, and once you get those down, then you can sort of go down different rabbit holes of trying to improve. And I think the same thing with health is true.
Yeah, we've overcomplicated a lot of things, but we've also ignored a lot. Work with a lot of men over 40. Do you find that they've kind of they put off the health and wellness for the last 20 years kind of thing, thinking they're still invincible, and then all of a sudden here we are?
Yeah, there's a little bit of that. I would say that, yeah, I mean, the other things become their priority, and they sort of put their health on the back burner. And so by the time they know it, time goes, and maybe they have a belly, and they've just been dedicating themselves to their career and then their family, which, nothing wrong with that. But when you put your health on the back burner for a couple decades, it's going to catch up to you eventually.
So how do you get started with somebody like that? Again, we're all in that boat probably, but
Yeah. Well, I think before you start, doing anything as far as building some habits in, I think it's important to understand and create some clarity around like why you want to change, and not just simply, oh, because I want to lose weight. Like, why do you want to lose weight? Like sort of digging in a little bit, and just getting crystal clear on like the reasonings behind it. Because through a health journey, you're going to have ups and downs, but you got to sort of be honed in on exactly why you're going down this route. And it could be, you want to be able to be around for your grandkids, or get up and down the stairs better, just move more efficiently throughout the day. I mean, it could be a lot of different reasons, but I think that's like the first place you want to start and just sort of understand, like get a baseline, like, what are your habits now? Like, how are you eating? Like, what's movement like for you? Sleep, stress, just sort of taking notice of those things, and so you have a baseline where you want to build from there.
Kind of that accountability part, acknowledging where you're at.
Yeah, I mean, accountability is huge. I think everyone should be accountable to someone in probably some aspect of their lives. Whatever your weakness is, that's where it helps to have someone that you're accountable to. So if your weakness is sort of like your health, and like, let's just say strength, well, then maybe you need a strength coach or someone to help you sort of get in line with, sleep, stress, and all the other things. So yeah, I mean, being accountable is definitely a big part because, like we said earlier, information's out there. Like, I think we all have a decent idea on how to live a healthy lifestyle. I'm sure if you survey 100 people, they'd probably give you a decent answer. But what sort of fails people is not the knowledge; it's applying that knowledge.
Yeah, there's a lot of excuses that go along with that. Yeah, I just I've been talking about a food app lately, and it's just my point is you don't have excuses when you have something that you scan it says bad. It's very straightforward. Are you finding a lot of clients have chronic disease as well? Because we're starting to find more and more younger people are really getting in the weeds.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that most of my clients don't necessarily come to me with like, um, I wouldn't say get like someone that comes to me and they're diabetic, but I do get individuals that maybe are on their way, or they feel like they're maybe pre-diabetic, or they're starting to get some warning signs, because a lot of times people sort of wait till it not wait till it's too late, but wait till they get like a warning from someone, right? Like if they go to their physician and he's like, these numbers aren't looking great. We got to start making some lifestyle changes. And it's never too late. But so I would say from that standpoint, yes. I mean, these individuals have gotten some type of wake up call. And I'm a fan of doing things before you get the wake up call and being a little bit proactive about it. But the reality is, sometimes things get in the way, and next thing you know it, you have some health scare, and then you want to sort of take action.
Well, I mean, I take full responsibility for putting myself in the situation I did. I know it was my bad habits from drinking to smoking. I mean, it just, yeah, I won't ever know for sure what it was, but you got to
Hmm.
take accountability for that part of it. Something that drew my attention, functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner. Could you explain what that is to people?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of, gosh, there's a lot of like nutrition, um, like degrees, I guess you could say, or practitioners on different levels. And FDN was drawn to me. A buddy of mine actually had him on the podcast. His name's Matt Terry, and he was a bright guy, and he mentioned FDN. And this is just a way for individuals to, um, sort of understand like what what is sort of causing this like metabolic chaos in their lives. And there's testing for, there's gut health, there's saliva testing, but there's a lot of different ways to sort of measure to see, how can we put this puzzle together and get the most out of it. So um, I think FDN is a great program, and it's been beneficial for me because it allows me to look at a client and sort of look under the hood a little bit, and figure out, well, maybe we start with the basics, but if things aren't working from there, we have to go a little bit deeper. And FDN is just a tool in the toolbox. I use it when I need it. And if someone's thriving on certain other things, then I don't feel like we need to go the testing route. Then we don't do that. But yeah, so FDN is a pretty thorough sort of diagnostic way of figuring out like if there's issues going on, like what's really causing that.
I like that. You look at things more in an individual standpoint than grouping everybody together. And that's kind of where the whole diet thing has really gone off the deep end. It's just we group everybody in the same boat, and that's just not how it works.
Yeah, I mean, I think anyone that's been in health and wellness for however many years, I think it's important to, I mean, you have to take each individual as it comes. Myself, not only working with clients, but just even having a podcast, and you have, different angles on health. One person is telling you, avoid seed oils. The other person is telling you, oh, it's all about calories. The next person is saying maybe you should be a carnivore. And then you got another person saying maybe you should be a vegetarian. So I think it can be confusing. And it comes down to like finding what works for you, and like what will work in the long term, and create like so lasting sustainability of it. So yeah, there's a lot of nuance there, but you try to take each case as it comes, and you got to sort of align with what they want as well. If they don't want to eat animals, then you have to sort of go go with what works for their lifestyle, and that's just the reality of it.
Right. You talk about stress, you talk about sleep. So there's more to it than just physical. There's more to it than just what you eat.
I mean, I think we can talk about food and nutrition all we want, but if someone's not sleeping right, you know I think that's like pillar number one, I would say, is sleep, stress. um and I will say I'm not like a stressful individual. So but we got a new dog, and it's put a little bit of stress on myself. And I think what I realized is it is tough to do stuff when you're under stress, right? Like I didn't really, like it was not easy. I have two other dogs, and they weren't getting along, and for whatever it was causing stress. And for someone who doesn't come from a lot of stress, I was like, wow. I was like, I don't feel like working out. Like I'm not, sleeping great. And I'm thinking, what, maybe, this is just an example of, you know, how stress can sort of debilitate people. And so it was a learning curve for me. But anyways, I just think stress and sleep should be go hand in hand. Sleep, one of those things, I got like an aura ring. It's on my finger right here. Just to sort of, I'm not a big like wearable guy, but like the aura ring, if is good in the sense of giving you sort of an idea like where's my sleep at. Now most of us can tell, and I would say I can tell, but I just wanted to get confirmation on it. So I think it's important to sort of really focus. I would say for myself, my number one priority is sleep.
At what point do we talk about the mental health part of it? I mean, you mentioned mindset. Is that part of the stress? Is that part of the sleeping? I mean, that all again goes hand in hand, but we kind of ignore the mental side.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, you hear athletes come out nowadays talk about mental health. So it's obviously crucial. A lot of guys don't maybe admit it as much, and they don't want to talk about it. But I think it's important to get it out there. So no doubt about it. I mean, mental health. If the mental health's not there, the physical health is not gonna be there. So it should be up there as well. They all sort of go hand in hand. I think that's the big thing, right? Like so.
100% agree. Where does you mentioned movement? We don't hear a lot about movement. We hear about, okay, working out. We hear about pumping weights. What about movement? Because again, that comes back to the simple part.
Yeah, I mean, when I talk about movement, I think number one is like walking. I mean, walking. I will say. I mean, now I've had dogs my whole life, so but like now even having three dogs, and I can't. I'm at this point. I'm walking them separately, so I'm getting a lot of steps in. And I'm lucky. I have flexibility. I can do that, but I would tell anyone, whether you work at a desk job or not, like if you have a lunch break, get out and walk. Like if you could focus on one walk a day would be great. Just sort of start with that. But like I think walking after eating is like one of the big things that I really focus on. And so helps with digestion and just managing blood sugar. And so that's a big thing. After every meal, I try to go for a little bit of a walk. Doesn't always work out, right? There's times where it doesn't. But I would say, 8 out of 10 times, I try to do some type of walking, especially after I eat.
Well, that kinda brings up I was talking to my dad, it was a little bit ago, and he goes, I wanna kinda sit down on the floor and see if I can get up." And he's in his 80s, but I'm like and again, coming from a personal trainer, I'm like, "Wow, it's somebody that actually gets it," because
Hmm.
it's again, that's part of first steps is go back to well, it's almost baby steps. And it really impressed me that he wanted to even try it because as we get older, we stop worrying about it. And next thing you know, you can't tie your shoe, you can't walk up the stairs, so that movement starts. I mean, again, it's the very basic stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's like goes back to like you want to start getting into some type of movement routine when you can, because as you get older, it's just going to be that much more difficult. So yeah, it's up there. I mean, just getting up and down the stairs, or your dad wanted to just get up from being down on the floor. I mean, these are this is quality of life here. This is something that's really important.
So, how do we build on that? How do we start building strength?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're coming from like no strength training background, it's just about like starting small, right? And maybe doing some total body, maybe get a few weights. There's different apparatuses out there, like something that I still use to this day, something called the X3 bar. It's resistance bands, and you can do it from home. There's a lot of at home things you can get. And I used it, I remember using it a lot during COVID. And so, you could do a total body workout and start from there. But I think just doing some type of strength training, and even if it's just body weight, just doing body weight exercises, wall squats, little things. And these don't have to be like hour sessions. These could be like these micro workouts that I've talked about where it's, 15, 20 minutes, and you're done. Um, One thing that I am testing out a bit now is blood flow restriction training, which is an interesting, it's been around. A lot of physical therapy offices use them. I had a company send me a set, and I've been doing some of my workouts with them. And all it does is it's just a band that you put around your arms and legs, and you do the same exercises that you would normally do, but it restricts the oxygen to the muscle. And yeah, and it's interesting because you get a workout quicker, you get the pump quicker, and you can do less weight. So I've had a bad shoulder for a bit, and so I wanted to try it out. I'm going to have them on the podcast to talk about it. And I have no affiliation. It's called Be Strong is the unit that I've been testing out, but it's interesting, and I think it can apply for a lot of people because if you're getting up there in age and you don't want to try to lift too heavy, and just because you don't want to injure yourself, starting with some small weights, and then if you want to add on some blood flow restriction, it's been a positive impact for a lot of people. I know that. So
Yeah, that's interesting. I've never heard of it.
yeah, yeah.
That's cool. Well, it's good that they're coming out with new stuff too for well, I keep going back to older people too. It's just ignored it for so long. It's getting them back into it, and I love to see like my dad want to do it. You talk about micro workouts. We talk about working out at home. Do you recommend having somebody start with you as far as a personal trainer or as far as a wellness coach? Do you think that there's a huge advantage of that?
Well, I would say yes, um, but I'm
Well, and
biased.
maybe why? Why, I guess, is the biggest question.
Well, I think it depends. I mean, it depends where they're coming from. I mean, if it's an individual who is finding that like they need accountability, then using a coach, I think myself, whoever it is, can pay dividends, and you can save so much time. Because you deal with someone who's been training himself for over 20 years, and then has experience with clients. I mean, you just can get to the finish line a lot quicker. And so you're just not in, and especially if you're 40, 50 plus, like, do you really want to waste time? Right. Time is of the essence. So I think from that standpoint, yes. If you're in your 20s and you're pretty self-determined and you can do things on your own, I mean, you might not need a coach, but so I think it's dependent on that individual. But I've had coaches in all aspects of my life for the most part, and it's a good way to save time and sort of get to where you want to go faster.
I like that. Like we said, the micro part of it, because
Mhm.
everybody thinks you got to work out for hours and hours and hours. I do.
You
Because
like
I'm
the
one of
you
those
like the work,
people.
yeah, okay.
Oh, lordy.
If
That's
you
my
enjoy
stress
it,
reliever.
yeah.
Yeah. But like I came off this summer, I lost 6 inches of my colon to surgery. So I was on weight restrictions. So it really changed how I had to do everything. That's where I came up with bands for myself. I had never used them until then. I didn't do a whole lot of strength training other than, I didn't have all the weights. For somebody that's coming from a situation similar to mine, where you have to be really careful, because again, a lot of people are dealing with something. How do you start with that? Do we, again, just go back to the walking? Do we go back to, okay, let's do stairs? How do you know how far to go?
How do I know how far to go as far as, like, if you're talking about
Pushing
walking?
somebody
What's that?
or pushing somebody as
Oh,
far as how much weight they should do or how much cardio. Is there a limit?
well, I think you always want to start small and start slow, especially if they have some type of disease or maybe an injury or whatever might be holding them back. You want to just try to get small wins off the bat, right? So it's like taking someone who's never done anything and then put them through an hour strength training workout. I mean, they're probably going to be sore for days upon days, right? So, and then they'll probably not want to do it again. So I think you want to start small and just get the ball rolling. Once the ball starts moving and they start to maybe feel better, get results, and feel some strength coming on, then you can slowly ramp up. But yeah, I'm a big believer in just starting small. Like, even for me, I mean, I've been lifting for 25 years, 27 years probably. I mean, my workouts are different now than they were 25 years ago. But, like, if I let's just say I'm out for a week or something or two, or I mean, I get back to the basics and start small. Like, I'm not like trying to lift a lot or do things, and I've been doing it for a long time. So I think, yeah, I think start small and just get little wins, and then sort of build from there.
Do you like body weight movements, push-ups, pull-ups?
You know what? I think for especially like an untrained individual, they're really good. I mean, someone maybe who's been lifting for 20 years, body weight can be fine. They might not like get like quite the results maybe they want, if you're used to putting on loads, but like you can definitely do, I mean, I think body weight can go a long way. Um and simple things like I said, wall squats and things like that. I mean, there's other ways that you can get around doing less weight or doing your body weight. But yeah, for people just starting out, I think it's great.
Well, I didn't it'd probably been 30 plus years since I did plyometrics, and I just
Yeah.
started doing that again.
That's not
Something
easy.
that no
That's not easy.
you talk about being sore,
Yeah.
yeah, but the more you do it, easier it gets, and the more you get out of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you hear all the time like how sprinting is like such an effective tool, for weight loss, for like just building up like your metabolic engine. I Sprinting is tough as you get older. I think you can find ways to, you talk about like what you were doing. You were doing like high intensity training or plyometrics. Like, Yeah, I mean, jumping and things like that. I mean, it can be tough on the body, but like I think that like we talked about, you start small. I think sprinting doesn't necessarily have to be sprinting on a track. You could sprint in the water. You can sprint on a row machine, hypothetically, or a bike, an Aerodyne bike or something. I have one of those, gosh, like an Aerodyne bike in the basement with the big fan, and those things, those are not easy, and you can do quick sprints on those that are a little bit easier on the joints. So I think I actually wish I did that more. I should add those in, but I think those are sort of can be a game changer for people.
Yeah, for me to lose, I was 65 pounds overweight a little over a year ago, and a lot of that was post bone marrow transplant, and it just messed with me really bad that
Hmm.
I had to figure out things, and part of me was going back to or starting hit training, honestly, and because I was, like I said, doing 3, 4 hours a day of cardio, and it wasn't helping at all. So that was part of my change, and I found it. One, I wasn't having to do, again, 3 to 4 hours. I could do that smaller amount and feel like actually got a workout in. I mean, it was amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good blueprint, right? I think if you can add some high intensity training, even if it's once a week, um, why not? I mean, I think, you're hitting sort of those fast twitch muscles, and those are things that can sort of go if you don't work on them. And it's something that I should probably do more of. It's like if you don't use it, you sort of lose it. But yeah, I think like you said, you can do it many different ways, and um, yeah, it's a great tool. So
Well, and part of that is finding what you like. I mean, if you don't like it, you're not gonna stick with it. I'm
sure, yeah.
into really wearing I do a weighted vest now, on my walk, and I love it. It just gives me that little extra,
Mm,
for
I should
strength.
do that. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I'm up to
Yeah.
33 pounds or so. I'm ready to jump up to the next one, but that's like $300, you
Mm,
know?
mm.
So, but I never thought it would be that effective. And man, I just feel so much better doing it. So again, there's so much out there, I guess is my point, that find something you like.
Yeah, you got to enjoy it. I mean, because if you don't enjoy it, then you're not going to do it, and that's then it's not going to last. So yeah, if weighted vest is a great is sort of a great tool as well to use. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. So let's get to the book, Stepladder System.
Hmm. Yeah. So it's interesting. I'm actually revamping it. It came out. Gosh, now I can't believe it's been out for like 3, 4 years now. Yeah. So I'm revamping it because things change a little bit, and so it's going to be coming up with this episode will air in June. Yeah, it should be back out. It's going to. I'm changing the title a bit. The basics are going to be the same, but we're just recrafting it. But I mean, the whole idea with it's going to be called Built to Last. Either way, step ladder system. Uh, it's just based around like it's almost like a workbook to sort of guide you through sort of the 6 pillars that I like to focus on with people, which are creating clarity, um, getting small wins, activity upgrade, sleeping, stress, and nutrition and meal timing. And just sort of takes you through my process that I work clients through and just put into sort of into a book form. And um, yeah, I think it's a great tool to use. And it's a way for you to become accountable and sort of record, where you're at and where you want to go. And I look at almost as like a workbook.
I like that.
Yeah.
Something you mentioned, winning, small wins. That's pretty dang important, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I think especially early on, right? Like, what I see sometimes is if people don't get results right away, they sort of get discouraged, and then it sort of leads to like inaction. But if you can get just small wins, um, and start to see small, even small results, then you'll sort of build momentum, and that's what you want to really do. Is you want to build momentum. it's so important starting out. So that's a focus, right, and so and that's about just sort of finding, like, identifying sort of that low-hanging fruit that's gonna make the biggest impact on your health, and focus on that. So, there's no reason to start, you could look at nutrition and this and that, but, like I said to you before, if sleep is getting in the way, then maybe that's what you should focus on first. Get those small wins with sleep, and then we can focus on other things next.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's the staying positive part that just everybody needs, and it puts a smile on your face. I mean, something that small can mean a lot, and that keeps you going.
Yeah, no doubt.
So, last question. 40-some-year-old, 50-year-old, 60-year-old, is there a magic to any of it, or is it just simply hard work? Is it simply acknowledging it, moving forward, small steps?
Well, I would say, is there a magic pill? I mean, I would not say there's a magic pill, but I do think that, I mean, you're seeing people utilizing, like, for example, peptides, right? Um, I'm just starting to learn more about all these peptides and what they can do. So I'm not an expert on that, but that maybe can help individuals get to where they want to go. But you still got to make the lifestyle changes. You can take a peptide for building muscle, but if you don't lift, it's sort of that's going to throw a wrench in it. So yeah, I mean, I think yeah, just take small steps, and plan ahead. I think that's important. Whether it's food, exercise, whatever it is, put it in your schedule like you would if for a meeting or anything else that you would do in your life. And if you sort of plan ahead, I think then, you know, it won't, no, nothing will sort of, there won't be any surprises, instead of just sort of waiting until the last minute. And same with food, right? Like if you don't plan ahead and maybe have some things ready to eat for the week, that's when fast food comes in, right? That's when you sort of take the easy road. But if you plan ahead, for health, I think in many aspects that can really sort of get you on the right road.
Sustainability.
Yeah.
That's probably how you have to get there. I mean, if you look at it for the long run, it's all about sustainability. Well, I like that. Brian, how do people get a hold of you?
If they just go to my website, briangryn.com, can, you know, check out the podcast. If they want to maybe just set a 15-minute call just to learn a little bit more, and I can get to know them. Uh, those I think are the best ways to sort of learn. I have a newsletter that comes out every week or every other week. I'm not like dogmatic on sending it out. If I feel like there's something to talk about, I'll talk about it. But so there's a lot of ways to sort of take in the information and, hopefully help lead you on a good journey.
Did you do the food pyramid at all?
Like back in the day, or
No, the new one.
oh, the new one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I could not believe how political that's become, but
yeah.
that was just
No, I mean,
I'm not
you know what? Anything like if we're looking for the government for help, I mean, I think you just got to take your own control of food, exercise, and things like that, and guidelines from people that have experience, as opposed to just relying on the government for anything.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I
We
guess,
never followed it anyway, so
yeah, exactly.
that's basically was my point. Why is it such a big deal if we're not gonna follow it? But
Yeah.
anyway.
I mean, the only thing is, like, if it can help with like the school systems and the food that's
Oh,
going into into hospitals, from that standpoint, I sort of like where the direction of that's going, as opposed to what it was. You go into a hospital, not that hopefully, none of us are, but you go in a hospital and you're like, what kind of food are they feeding individuals? I'm sure you have some, yeah.
it's not good.
Yeah, it's not good. So that doesn't make
No.
much sense.
I actually agree with that. I Now you're getting me on something else, but, you know, again, my 6-year-old came home and there was a menu for what they're going to have for lunches. I was like, there's no way. And since day one, I've done his own lunch. It's really bad. So it's not catching on quick enough.
No.
Because again, that goes back to, again, if we're feeding our kids that poorly and we've already known what it does to us, I just don't get it. That's probably a whole nother podcast, but
Yeah.
wow, I just don't get it.
No, yeah, you could do a whole podcast on that. I mean, but yeah, I think and it just goes back to, you just try to do your best to take ownership of those things and not have to rely on, unfortunately, the school system and other things. Yeah.
No, I agree. That's where parents come in, understand it's not good for them. All right, Brian Gryn, functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner, wellness coach, podcast host, author, and human movement specialist. I like it. You got a lot in there. I really
Yeah.
appreciate it. It has been a joy to have you on.
Thanks, John. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah. This was fun, and keep the journey going with the podcast. And yeah, it's a great way to meet new people. So,
No, I agree. And there's so many tools out there, like you had mentioned, that again, that's what you bring to this. So I really do appreciate it.
yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me on.
Of course. All right, everybody, as you know, find the attitude, keep the attitude, go out living. Till next time. Bye, everybody.